All right, everybody, welcome to episode 6 of the ATRL Charts podcast. I'm Alexander AO on ATRL.
Hi everyone, it's Her or Jer or whatever you can call me. It's the one and only, Her55.
And we've also got a new panelist today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Highwind. And Katie Bruno's in.
All right. So, the first thing that we want to talk about today is Drake and Future's surprise mixtape, What a Time to Be Alive. Debuts at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with 375,000 pure sales. Or no, sorry, not pure sales, album equivalent units.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to talk about this. I'm pressed as hell these bitches decide to screw Lana's album of the year #1 opportunity, so I don't want to talk about this. Fuck these bitches.
It's not their fault.
No, it's not, honestly. I mean, the
You can say what you want.
The album's actually not bad.
No,
it's I listened to
it. I haven't listened to it yet, but
it has some good songs. Like Diamonds Dancing, Live from the Gutter are actually good songs, in my opinion. And it's not hard for me to see why it sold so much. They've all got these, typical, very catchy, very, up-tempo trap beats that are great for parties, great for hangouts, great for blasting down school hallways. You get the idea. And Drake obviously has already shown what he can do with February's If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. And the thing that actually makes me more optimistic about this project than that one is that this project got 29 million streams in its first week just from Apple Music, while If You're Reading This, It's Too Late got 14 million streams from all services its first week. So you can interpret that as in two different ways. One is that streaming has grown since then, which it has, but also that Drake has just continued to have such a strong foothold on the hip hop market that he's able to pull in these massive numbers in just a week. And the album just went up on Spotify too. A lot of songs debuting today. I think he has 6 or 7 in the top 50 now.
And also, there are no boundaries for Drake because he did it with Apple Music alone. And we know Apple Music is not that big as Spotify.
Right. So definitely something to keep watching. We'll check in again next podcast, see how it's doing in terms
and it's already been said that there's going to be a race for the #1 of the next week between Fetty Wap and Drake and Future.
Really disappointing numbers for Fetty Wap. Everybody agrees that he has underperformed.
Awful numbers.
Forecast to sell just 70,000 in pure sales and around 110,000 album equivalent units.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the other
Last week, we were projecting that Fetty Wap was going to sell anywhere from 170,000 units to 250,000 units, and we were even talking about the possibility of, if everything went really well, 300,000 units. But it turns out that it's 110,000. And the reason I think that's happened is because the album is 20-something tracks long. And when people see that, it turns them off to listen to the whole album, and they only end up listening to maybe the first 5 tracks or just the singles. And what's happening is that's hurting Fetty in terms of the amount of albums he's selling and units he's gonna get towards the Billboard 200 chart. And I feel like you can't say that he is a singles artist just based on this one album, because he's only been around since January, February, when Trap Queen was just barely starting to take off. And we can't make any early judgments from this.
But he's the biggest breakthrough artist of the year. He has had 3 top 10 hits so far, which is amazing. It's really big. It's like, I think it's about only the 2 artists who has done that this year. And tell me, those sales are disappointing.
I know, and with 5 songs in the Spotify top 20, you really wonder if any of the songs besides the singles are getting streams. So I guess you could argue that he's a singles artist in the sense that people only want to listen, to the singles. But
Yeah,
still, I think it's a little bit premature to say that.
we'll
When
see.
he's
We'll
only
see.
released one album. Yeah, he's only been around for 9 months. So
He has been
Sidebar.
getting a bad week, by the way.
Yeah, he got into a treatment.
the next thing that we're going to talk about is Macklemore and Ryan Lewis's Downtown, which since the last podcast has stalled in all components. On pop radio, its bullet was in the 2000s when we talked about it, and now it's down to just 900, exactly 900. On Spotify, it's down to number 19 today, and stayed in the teens for the last week or so. And on iTunes, it's number 11, and has stayed in the 11 to 14 range over the last week or so. So is this like a permanent stall, and then Downtown will peak and head downward from here, or will it rebound and become a big hit?
For me, Downtown is going to peak in the 11-15 region. That is not going top 10. For me, there's something lacking. I think they haven't done that great on streaming as we could expect, like they did on the Haze era in 2013. So early airplay was really great, and I think that was a good sign. But I think that was because radio wanted to a new single from them, whatever they release. But then they released this. I don't know if I should call it a song because it's so messy. It doesn't have any structure at all.
Yeah,
so
I like the song.
it doesn't deserve to be called a song, after all.
Well, it's.
I mean, with Downtown, you've got a very peculiar song.
It's unique.
I think it could help and hurt it. It could help it because it could have a high replay value for some people because you could keep on discovering the little nuances in the song structure. And then it could also turn some people off because it sounds so strange and they don't want to hear that on pop radio. For what it's worth,
So far, it's not showing that replay value.
I mean, we haven't gotten call-outs for it yet. I'd like to see the call-outs. I'm curious as to whether this is gonna have good call-outs or not. Because if it does, then there's obviously a higher chance that radio picks it back up, and that sales will at least stay steady. If it doesn't have good call-outs, it shows that the public isn't here for the song, and that sales could start dropping at any time. But I think that right now, it's not looking like a top 10 hit for me. It's not showing any really good growth in any of the components. It's showing moderate growth on pop radio, and it's steady on both iTunes and Spotify. So unless it gets another push, like how it got a push with the VMA performance, I can't see it going top 10. It'll peak around 11 or 12.
Wait, how did it do on sales last week?
Well, because Billboard doesn't give us numbers for outside of the top 10,
Oh,
I don't
what?
have exact, but I can check the Corb estimates, which are 77,000.
Oh, okay. So it has a second version at number 59 on iTunes, so it's actually number 6 combined, which is
okay.
pretty good sales.
It's
It'll
doing
keep
quite
it.
well on iTunes, actually. But iTunes doesn't matter anymore, so that's not good for them.
Right.
Well,
'cause sales
in a way, it'll keep it stable. It really won't drop it immediately, so it might still gain just a bit.
Yeah, could see that
JP
happening.
is here for them, so that's great. I mean, at least the JP is good. Is here for more Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. They're not done.
Yeah.
Right. And the radio has to pick up though because sales-driven hits aren't going to be as successful as airplay-driven hits or streaming-driven hits. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Sales have been consistently only 20% of the influence on the Hot 100 over the past several months. Airplay around 30% and streaming around 50%. It's been that way for a while. So if you have a song that's number 1 on sales, and
Who cares?
Right.
Who cares anymore?
Yeah. It
Like
it
one-
needs. Yeah.
like One Direction, "Drag Me Down" didn't debut at number one because even though it was number one on sales for a while, and like Bad Blood almost didn't get the number one too. That was close, even though it was number one on sales by a large margin. So sales just don't matter as much as they did 4 or 5 years ago. So it's hard to score a sales-driven top 10. Anyways, with that in mind, next thing I want to talk about is a song that certainly is not having issues with being driven by one component, Hotline Bling. This song's just exploding.
Yeah, it's huge in all formats right now.
It's looking like the strongest contender for number one. Actually, like the clearest and the only one that can reach the top and can throw The Weeknd. It's actually Drake. But it could be I don't know. If Drake doesn't care too much and doesn't release a video, and y'all are going to say me, no, he doesn't need a video, whatever. I think he needs a video to give him the last push.
It's going to be tough without the video, but it's already... I don't know where it is in the streaming songs. Let me just check right now where it is in the streaming songs chart.
It's at above 12 million of streams.
So it's already doing well even without a video.
It's
so
doing
I think,
amazing.
And it's just today, up 2 places, its first day at number one on Spotify. So number one there, number one on iTunes. On pop radio, it's got a pretty good bullet, 1,200, and it's just entered the top 40 today, Winter Currents. On rhythmic radio, number 6, with a bullet of 1,155. So that's amazing, considering that no other song on rhythmic radio has a bullet over 700. Then on urban, it's at number 9 with a bullet of 800, which is also the largest on that format. So it's just increasing so hard on radio. And on Spotify, it's been doing really well too. Just really encouraging performance in every metric for Hotline Bling. And a video, I think, would seal the fact that it's going number one on the Hot 100. Unfortunately for Drake, though, the last time he released a video that mattered, it was just...
I don't remember.
Right, exactly. I don't remember it. And recently, actually, remember in February and March when the song Energy was gaining traction on radio and sales and Spotify? That song was in the top 10 on Spotify. And he decided that he wouldn't release a video for it until he did 1 month ago.
A month ago.
And the video was trash.
The video is trash.
Video is horrible. I watched it. I couldn't finish it. Like, it didn't even take 30 seconds.
You can be serious with that video. I mean, you can be a serious artist
come on,
and
Drake.
release that video.
It's horrible. It's a horrible... If you haven't watched it, I suggest you do watch it simply because it's funny.
For entertainment purposes.
Yeah. So I guess we'll have to wait until March for the Hotline Bling video. And it's probably going to be horrible too. It's probably just going to be him just like dialing a phone.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Right. And then he's wearing like some jewelry because that's the bling part.
Oh god. Or maybe the phone is made of bling or something.
Yeah.
Well, at least get those streams, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
All right. So.
But so far, The Weeknd is looking very safe at top for like at least 5 weeks.
Uncontested, yeah. Unless Adele releases a lead single.
Well, Hits Daily Double had put out an article saying that they thought Adele's single was going to come out in the first or second week of November. So that's not till 6 weeks from now. So The Weeknd's got at least, I'd say 4 or 6 weeks on top.
And Ariana Grande is also coming.
October 30th is the release of her new single, Focus.
Yes!
Which we want to talk about, well, can she debut at number one? It's already been done once this year with Justin Bieber. Can Ariana Grande repeat the feat?
I don't know. I'm very positive about this because she's like the most promising star right now. She's been everywhere. She was everywhere during My Everything era. So I think she could do it. I mean, the hype is real. After a massive era of almost 5 top 10 hits, you can use it on your favor. And last time she released a lead single, it was in 2014 with Problem.
She
She
almost
was
made
very
it.
close, and she was very close, and actually not debuting at #1 was her team's fault for not uploading the lyric video some
On
hours
YouTube,
or
yeah.
some days before. But she had all the potential.
Yeah, as long as they don't make the same mistakes that they did last time, she she has a good chance of making it. Her first weeks are always pretty good. Like even when nobody really knew her, other than her core fans. The way sold over 200K debut, and Problem was actually pretty strong in its debut week. So, well, with the sales climate the way it is, you should be able to sell it like 300K or
Yeah.
350K.
Yeah.
I think that's a very reasonable number, selling 300K, 350K first week, because that's what Justin Bieber did around.
In
so,
One Direction, so
in One
big,
Direction.
One Direction,
big
yeah.
artists are
All
doing
the big
that.
debuts.
How about that?
So I feel like Ariana can have really strong streaming, also, which is key to the #1. Obviously, it's the component with the most influence on the Hot 100, so it's definitely very key. I feel like her streaming can be strong, especially if the single is urban R&B oriented, because we all know that genre streams the best.
Yeah.
Of course.
She'll have a radio deal for sure. She'll have massive airplay in her first days on pop rhythmic, maybe urban.
Maybe
I don't
Urban,
know
yeah,
for sure.
if it's
If it's
actually
urban.
pretty.
Also, have in mind the Hills is going to peak by them, so it's not going to be a big week on overall points.
Right. So I think her competition might be a little weaker than it would be now, because like you said, the Hills will have peaked, Locked Away will have peaked, and it's not going for #1 anyway. And songs like, let's see, well,
What
are
do
the
you
other-
mean is going to be
Yeah.
something?
Wildest Dreams. I mean, it's not going to come too close to #1, I don't think.
Yeah,
No,
it's
yeah.
the
Top
same
five,
deal
at
as
least.
Hotline Bling. It's missing one component,
Well,
and
that
it's a lot
component-
weaker.
I mean, I'm kind of flummoxed at the decision by Taylor to keep it off Spotify. Like, just if you want to get a big top 5 hit with your 5th single, it has to have streaming, because we already know that it's going to be airplay driven. So if you want to balance that out a bit, you got to have good streaming.
Exactly.
And not putting it on Spotify basically says, okay, it's okay if my 5th single's airplay driven. You're gonna and then, well, it's probably not gonna go top 5. It still hasn't gone top 10.
That's what happens when you think you're the Robin Hood of this century. So that's our fault.
Wilder Dreams is selling really well though, considering her album sold so much. It's
Oh, yes.
it's
I
top
know,
4
and
right
it
now.
doesn't. It doesn't need it. It didn't need like a remix or as.
And considering that video, that's pretty controversial, I guess.
Kinda.
Although
nothing
not really
controversial, I
that
think,
good.
media
Well-
is just doing the most.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, but
Yeah, we all agree on that.
it's not
Um,
that bad. It's pretty. It's inoffensive, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything she does is inoffensive, so I don't get it.
Yeah.
She's been playing safe since she started, so
Oh, she included the lyric, "Take a look at what you've done," in a song. So offensive. Okay.
like are you serious? God, people are so sensitive sometimes.
Moving on. Ellie Goulding has got a new era in the works. On My Mind just came out several weeks ago, and is off to a pretty good start on streaming and airplay. Not on sales. We're
Not
number
that
12.
bad on sales, so don't be so
I
negative.
mean, not a bad start, but not an excellent start either. Number 25 right now, which is pretty
yeah,
pretty
she's
okay.
been dominating.
It's yeah. Considering it's a growth, it's still not that huge yet on pop radio, so it's moving pretty fast though.
It is. It's been on the chart for 10 days, and it's got the 5th largest bullet behind What Do You Mean, Locked Away, Wildest Dreams, and The Hills. The Hills leading by far, by the way, almost 3,000. Um, on My Mind, I think, has the potential to be a top 10 hit. The early streaming is really encouraging, especially since we know that streaming is the metric that traditionally lags behind sales on airplay. It comes later. So to see her debut at number 10, I believe she debuted at, and then hang around today at number 15, it's encouraging to see, and I think with more airplay, that streaming will head back up.
I'm going to say this. Ellie is becoming in a pop radio force. I'm glad to see this girl is building her success every era. This Delirium era promises to be a huge for her, at least on the commercial side. We know this album is going to be more commercial pop oriented, so that gives her more success in this industry. On My Mind doesn't seem to be a huge seller, but she hasn't been a big seller. She's not known for biggest selling songs. I mean, she just had like Lights, which had a massive longevity, and it sold more than 4 millions of copies, which is massive. And then Love Me Like You Do, which was a surprise, but it was very promoted by 50 Shades of Grey and the success of that movie. I think it is going to do better on both streaming and radio for On My Mind's case, and hopefully I can see a future top 10 hit.
Yeah, I will definitely go top 10, but the problem with her, she doesn't promote that much. I don't think we ever had any live performances for Love Me Like You Do, did we?
No, no.
No.
Yeah, exactly. She only needs like a Good Morning America or something, and should be able to get the word out there. But
Well, no, go ahead.
I think it'll be like a Burnside hit. I think it'll go top 10, but it will hover in the lower portions of the top 10.
Well, I think it's going to be less airplay driven than Burn. Burn was a very like kind of generic dance pop track that you kind of expected to be airplay driven from the beginning.
Yeah.
This song is less like that. It will do a little bit better than Burn overall, maybe peaking at number 7 or number 8, which would be really good for Ellie because she's only had 2 songs to chart higher than that, Lights and Love Me Like You Do. So number 7, number 8 would be very good for a lead single, and would set up the era well. I guess next thing that we're going to talk about, following Ellie, is Magnets, which is the new single by Disclosure featuring Lorde. Now, do we think this song has the potential to become at least a moderate mainstream hit?
Yeah, why not? I mean, Disclosure, despite the fact Omen was a flop, to be honest, I would say that.
Really disappointed. I really like the song, but
Yeah,
what you gonna do?
yeah,
It's a really good song.
Magnets, it sounds great. I mean, it's not that different from Disclosure's sound and music. Like we know.
It's a really good fusion between their styles,
Yeah.
Disclosure and Lorde. But I've heard better. I actually listened to the album. Disclosure has a pretty good album. If you're a fan of that kind of music, free promo. But I think there are better tracks in the album. But I think it will do well if it needs
It
a
will
little
do
push.
well,
from
but I
radio.
think it's going to be, if anything, it's going to be more airplay driven here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be airplay driven. I think he'll get a good amount of streams, but Disclosure's not really known as a digital seller, so
Yeah, I mean, people say like Latch. Well, that was a hit in the state. Is by Sam Smith. So
Latch
Disclosure
was
is pretty unknown.
such an anomaly in the charts. Its chart life was so long,
yeah,
and yeah, it peaked at the mainstream top 40 like after like 6 months of rotation. I thought Omen was gonna end up the same way, but it actually dropped off.
yeah. We don't know when is Lore coming? Is coming back because she's been gone since 2013, and that was her debut year.
Since
Do
Tennis
you
Court
think
flop.
this 2 year break is going to hurt her
Mm,
career at least?
I don't know. I don't think. I think her lead single will still perform pretty strongly, but I'm not sure.
Because, for example, Yellow Flicker Beat, which was a soundtrack single for the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 soundtrack, it didn't do that well. And actually, uh, The Hanging Tree by James Newton Howard featuring Jennifer Lawrence was the highlight of the soundtrack and of the movie, not the promotional single by Laura.
Yeah, the Hanging Tree was a pretty big surprise, but it's it. But it really depends on the sound of Lord's
Yeah,
sound, because right
definitely.
now pop radio is pretty weird with its taste, so to speak. There's no
They've been
definite
moving
sound.
on.
Yeah,
They've been moving on from to an urban influence. To be honest, actually, I think because you don't see songs like Hotline Bling getting those updates like that
yeah.
and giving
It's leaning
so
more
much
towards
support for the
urban.
Hills, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing with the Hills support is that it was so surprising because it was basically a buzz single. Um, it was released just to iTunes as kind of like, oh, here's a single that I record. And nobody at Republic was thinking about actually pushing it to radio until it stayed in the top 10 of iTunes, like, for weeks. And
Yeah.
until it climbed into the top 5 of Spotify. The Hills, I don't think, has the Hills had a live performance?
I don't think
No,
so.
no. I
Okay,
think
so it's
The
got...
Weeknd is very lazy. He reminds me of Selena.
Selena, Ellie Goulding.
Yeah, I know.
You need
But
to
you mean
promote.
Hills...
No, actually, I think almost all the artists doesn't promote anymore
Yeah, a
because
lot of
sales
them don't
are
promote.
shit.
But back to the Hills for a second.
Yeah.
This song, like, was totally... Its growth was all 100% organic.
Yeah.
Which, it just shows you the power of streaming and the power of social networks. Because a song with so much organic growth going to number one so quickly would have been hard to come by 15 years ago, when this decade started. And it not only shows you the power of streaming and the power of social networking, but it shows you the power of The Weeknd, who's really blossomed into a huge force in mainstream music. And The Hills was able to almost effortlessly cross over to pop. It got really high call-out scores, which is really unusual for an urban crossover to pop. You look at all of Fetty's songs, Silento's song, they all got poor call-out scores. But The Hills, pop listeners love it. They can't get enough of The Hills.
Well, they
Well
have
deserved,
different
I think.
sounds. Yeah, the Hills is definitely better than Silento. That's for sure.
I mean, The Hills is more R&B, obviously.
It's
and
it's definitely more
serious
appealing.
R&B song.
right, totally
Yes.
sure. But I still find it surprising that 70% of people like The Hills in terms of pop radio listeners, and
I
only
think
like 40%.
honestly, I think we're coming back to the the early 2000s when pop radio was just about playing urban music.
That's a
I
fair
think it's
assessment.
a little more diverse now compared to back then. Back then it's just there's really a few pop rock acts that are huge on pop radio. We only had like Green Day and Kelly Clarkson, but right now it's a good mix between R&B and different sounds.
And we've got a lot of EDM influences
Yeah,
still,
Yeah.
even though
EDM.
EDM has faded since 2011, 2012, but still,
Yeah.
there are plenty of songs with EDM influences, and it definitely remains, like Lean On.
Lean On was a pretty pleasant, yeah, pretty pleasant surprise. that
Very surprising.
actually did really well for an EDM song.
Yeah, number 4. I mean, I never could have predicted that. But
Yeah,
You know, just only Avicii would wake me up, so that says a lot for Lino.
yeah,
yeah.
both songs reached number 1 on pop radio, and both songs peaked at number 4 on the Hot 100. Anyways, next thing we're going to talk about is Grammy nominations. Well, okay, the Grammys eligibility period closes 3 days, and that means it's time to start revving up the speculation machine in terms with regards to who's going to receive the nominations for the major categories. We'll start off with Record of the Year. What do we think?
Okay, so record of the year is almost based about number ones and big songs. Like last year, it was "Shake It Off," All About the Bass, and those songs. So for this year, I think we have Taylor is of course gonna lead the nominees this year. 1989 it's been critically acclaimed and it's been amazingly successful. So I think Taylor is going to get a nominee with Blank Space for the record of the year.
Yeah, of course. Blank Space, absolutely.
The Weeknd also.
The Weeknd, Can Feel My Face.
I don't know. I'm confused
Earned It.
because I think Earn It has a better chance. I think Can Feel My Face is just too commercial.
Can't Feel My Face, I think, will feel almost like
Pop.
kind of, but not just pop. I'm thinking like almost like not as big of an event as a single like Blank Space, even though they both spent similar amounts of time at number 1. I feel like Can't Feel My Face is almost going to be easily forgotten, and Earned It will be remembered as the thing that broke him out. That was for a movie soundtrack that had a very suggestive message and yet was still played on pop radio. I do think that The Weeknd will be nominated. I do think it's going to be Earned It, though, instead of Can't Feel My Face. But we'll see about that. Anyways, another song that obviously will get nominated 100% is Uptown Funk.
Definitely.
Uptown Funk.
Which
Probably the
obviously
front
wins.
runner.
It's the biggest hit of the year.
Yeah, it'll probably win.
I hope.
I hope so.
I hope so.
And then maybe Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And
Thinking Out
maybe
Loud.
Sugar. I'm thinking about Maroon 5 getting a nominee. The song has
Nope.
been everywhere, to be honest.
Yeah. I think they could snatch the last spot. That would be really interesting to see if they had a good chance at winning, though, because they haven't. With Overexposed, they didn't win any of the. They didn't get. I don't think. Did they even get nominated for Record of the Year with Overexposed? I don't think so.
No,
I
I
don't think they
don't
did.
remember. I don't think so. If anything, Payphone, but I don't remember pretty well.
I think that was nominated for like Best Rap Song, but not for Record.
Yeah, right.
Anyways,
And Jason Derulo could be another contender for Record of the Year nominations.
yeah, maybe, but
Want Me. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't big enough though. I don't think. Like, even though it's had like, I know that we've had some posts in the Airplay thread lately about how good its longevity on radio has been. I think obviously it's a step below all the songs we mentioned before in terms of impact and kind of how big it was at its peak. But there's always a shot, and we can just speculate. So perhaps. The next category is that we want to talk about album of the year. Besides 1989, who's
Besides
being nominated?
1989.
Definitely The Weeknd, Beauty Behind the Madness. The Weeknd
Behind the Madness.
is just being overexposed right now. He's the biggest artist this year, in my opinion. So, and the album has been really successful, and it was well received by the critics. So The Weeknd, and I don't think we can forget about Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yes, To Pimp a Butterfly. That album has gotten such good acclaim. Ever since early in the year, this has been an album that's been, praised and praised again by hip hop critics.
Hey, I hope Carly Rae gets a nomination.
Oh yeah, right.
It's a very, really critically acclaimed and for good reason.
Yeah, but the album. Remember that it has to be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, which emotion is not. Yeah. 0 big hit singles. Not good album sales. Not good streams. Yeah. But I think other albums that might have a possibility. They always have to nominate some alternative album. Last year it was Beckett. Last year it was Beckett at 1. Maybe
That's
something
true.
like.
They could,
I don't know.
They could pull something like that again.
Halsey?
Halsey.
I don't think Lana though. Not Lana.
You never know.
No, you
The
don't.
Grammy likes to be edgy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if Lana has ever gotten a major nomination though. Let's see. Who else? Let's see. Who released? Not Justin Bieber because that's probably not. Yeah, no, not Justin Bieber. I'm thinking of albums.
Imagine Dragons.
Yeah,
It's not as
maybe
big,
they could be
but
the random
maybe.
alternative.
Mumford and Sons had a pretty good album too. So
Believe. Oh no, that's a single.
While
Oh
Their
my God,
Mind. While
that's
Their
such a
Mind.
flop.
While Their Mind's a pretty good album. It's.
I should listen to it. It seems
Yeah,
like
it's a pretty good album. I like
I
it.
don't know. I would say Megan, but she almost feels forgotten already.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize. Yeah, released in January.
Yeah, maybe Megan. And then
Fall Out Boy.
yeah, Fall Out Boy could be the one, the alternative act. They can
American Beauty, American Psycho.
yeah, and then let's see. What was a big release? Yeah, I don't know. There's not many huge releases that I had looked out for besides 1989, Kendrick, and The Weeknd. Maybe there's an outside shot Drake for If You're Reading This It's Too Late, but I think that probably gets nominated for Best Rap Album, not for Album of the Year. Anyways, how about for Best Pop Solo?
Sugar. Uptown
Solo.
Funk. Oh,
Solo.
Thinking Out Loud.
Yeah. Thinking Out Loud earned it. And
I'm
then
back.
Style. Maybe Style.
Style? I mean, I hope, but I'd probably blank space. I mean, for Best Pop Solo, I mean,
Yeah, Blank Space.
Style is so much
Nothing
better
Like You
than
Do could be a candidate.
Yeah. And then, I mean, maybe I'm thinking a little bit too, or maybe I'm being a little bit ambitious, but does Lips Are Moving qualify? Is that
I
what we-
think she can do it. She could do it.
What about Honey,
And
I'm
by
Good?
the way, the album actually could get a nominee for.
Right, we talked about that, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Fight Song?
No, it's oh, Fight Song, yeah, possibly.
I don't know. I'm not so positive about that song. It's too corny, to be honest, and
Yeah.
It is corny, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the point.
yeah.
It's not trying to hide being, very.
And what about
cliche.
4 or 5 Seconds by Rihanna?
No,
No,
it's not going to
it's-
get nominated.
It's probably,
I
I
don't
don't know, probably for collaboration.
Maybe
But-
not even that though. I wouldn't be surprised to see it get no nominations simply because it, basically disappeared off the map after like April.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's not good for
And
the
that's
Grammys.
one of the things. And that's one of the things that could also hold back Lips Are Moving from getting potentially nominated and Tidal from being nominated.
Yeah,
because-
actually, Selena Gomez, that has been successful lately. Good for you.
Maybe for rap song.
Maybe. You
Rap
never
song.
know because these Disney artists are not Grammy
Right.
favorites, so I don't know.
Yeah, they're not.
Who else for rap song?
Rap song?
No, like rap / song collaboration. Like,
See
Oh,
you
rap
again,
song.
yeah.
See You Again.
definitely. Supposed to be.
Yes,
Bad Blood.
yes.
You better stand,
Bad
bitch.
Blood.
You better stand.
I really hope they don't nominate. I know they will.
The song is amazing. I love the song. It's one of my favorite urban.
I think it's so overrated by Bad Blood. Ugh.
I don't really like that, but
It's okay. You're allowed to like it.
well, I kind of know why.
Well, why?
Because Dan Katie.
All right, let's see. I Don't Mind by Usher could be an outside candidate, but maybe that's for R&B song.
Truffle Butter.
Same thing. Truffle Butter, same thing. Could be for rap, but not for like rap song.
Yeah.
Well,
Rap
actually,
song covered?
Truffle Butter doesn't count as rap song because nobody sings in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, rap song. Any more? Just looking through some past charts besides the stuff with.
Iggy Azalea's
Does
Trouble.
Locked Away count or not really? Locked Away's not rap.
No, that's pop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
pop.
rap. Yeah, I hope Supposed to Be wins that though, because that's an awesome song. Yeah.
And maybe some Drake collaboration. I don't know.
Love Me Harder. Still
Oh.
qualify?
Is that eligible? Let me check.
No, I think it was. I don't know.
Well, it has to be. Let's see.
September 30 released.
Oh my God! It was released on September 30th. That means it's eligible.
Yeah, it could.
Well,
but
yeah, Dark Horse was eligible, but it was never nominated for anything because it was too early.
But it's
Yeah.
not all hit. I mean, Love Me Harder just smashed in December, in January.
Yeah.
So.
So,
Yeah, but
so it's not eligible. I mean, it was eligible for last year, I meant, because
But I would
September
like-
30th is when it was. Yeah.
I mean, the weekend is there, so that could.
Yeah,
count.
it's the weekend
So-
is there. That's
Let's see. What about for the R&B categories? Miguel, maybe Coffee.
coffee.
Yeah, The Hills.
The Hills, yeah.
No sleep.
No Sleep at Janet. Yeah, right.
Plains, Jeremiah. I don't know. Maybe let's see. R&B. I would think that if The Weeknd gets nominated, it's for Earned It Again. But who knows? Maybe it could be The Hills. Trey Songz, Slow Motion. I don't know. Yeah, R&B is kind of open.
Yeah, there are no like.
There's
too
no
many.
like huge.
Yeah.
It's been more like rap songs and rap hits.
Rap is crowded. Rap is a crowded category.
Yeah, but R&B is not. I don't know. I feel like there are no mature R&B hits right now.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Just The Hills.
Yeah.
Just the hills.
Just that's a big exception.
Yeah, The Hills is really one of the most surprising chart stories of the year for me. Right up there with Lean On becoming a big hit. You know, sometimes this is why we follow charts. It's because sometimes
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
You never know because things can change all of the sudden. So it's exciting. And
It
now
has
with
that
the streaming,
unpredictability.
yes, yeah. And now with the streaming, it's harder to predict the future of a song because the streaming can help a song or it can decrease and not have longevity at all.
streaming is a metric that's very prone to fluctuations. You have a viral hit can gain 5-10 million streams in a week and jump up a ton of places on a chart, or it can lose a lot of its momentum and without strong airplay, strong sales to back it up, it can fall down quickly. So streaming has really increased the volatility of songs and made the chart more exciting, despite what people think about long-running number ones, which we talked about way back in podcast 1. It has made the chart more exciting. And with that in mind, we go to our segment, Will It Go Top 10? We take roughly 5 songs each week. We talk about whether they will go top 10, and, basically their prospects for the future in general. So this week on Will It Go Top 10, let's see, what should we start off with? How about we start off with, we already talked about On My Mind. We already talked about Downtown by Macklemore and
We should
Ryan
talk
Lewis.
about Halsey, New Americana.
Yeah, let's talk about
the
that.
video just came out this week, so it's coming.
Alright, New Americana. The folks at HDB have been pushing this song for months already. And I recently was able to listen to it. And I think it's interesting. They were thinking over on HDD that the song might pull a Royals, and just because of its message, becomes so relatable to the public that it ends up smashing and crossing over to pop. I'm not so sure about that for Halsey, um, because I think that it's a little bit, the sound is a little bit dodgy for pop radio. Royals had a more familiar sound because it had R&B, rap influences. New Americana straight up alternative. And looking at its performance on streaming so far, which is expected to be one of Halsey's strengths, considering that her album sold 112K units just based on, virality and word of mouth, through social networks. You'd think streaming might be one of her strengths, but New Americana on Spotify has had a pretty unimpressive run so far.
No, actually, it's been doing great.
I mean, you could say that compared to other
longevity.
Movies. I mean, I think it's been charting for 2-3 weeks now.
It's been there at least. It hasn't dropped out.
Let me turn to my handy Spotify charts archive. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, like 3 weeks charting, and it stayed in the 40s mostly. A few days in the 30s.
It's pretty early to tell whether it'll go top 10. Right now, I'd say no, but we'll never know.
I think the
song could gain traction.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say I'm very positive with Halsey. I mean, big pop station already showed the support. C100 actually already added to the playlist. So actually, it's showing great start on pop, considering, as you said, Alex, that it's kind of dark for being. I mean, being an alternative single could help because that makes a song interesting, and that could help on pop radio. But it's kind of dark. It has this dark sound, so I don't know. You never know with these songs. I don't see it being a top 10 hit, but at least I see it being a nice hit for him. At least top 40 for her.
Yeah, I think it could be a top 40 hit, but I think if it's going to take off and become truly huge, like Royals was, like they're saying it is on Hits Daily Double, it's going to have to do it via streaming. Because the subject matter is a little edgy for pop radio, so it'll probably be hesitant to play it. I'm thinking the song might have kind of an inverse chart run, where instead of streaming being the last metric, the one that lags behind and the one that doesn't peak as high, streaming will be the first metric to peak, and the high and the strength. And that's the key to how this song, if it's going to be huge, is going to be huge. The streaming is going to lead the way, followed by the sales, and then radio will look at that and say, well, we got to play it. Similar to what happened not similar in the sense that it had bad streaming, but Fight Song had great sales and that forced radio to play it, even though people didn't like the song, like it had bad callouts. That's how New Americana is going to have to smash on radio, simply because I don't think there's going to be enough programming directors out there that are going to take that risk and say, we're going to put this in power. Just if you look at the lyrics there, they mentioned like smoking marijuana and
it's kind of nice. Which is half explicit content.
Which is still illegal in most states.
Boo.
So anyways, I give it around right now a 5-10% chance of going top
10. Yeah, just about.
So the next song that we'll talk about is Ellie King's X's and O's, which we mentioned several podcasts ago. Alternative crossover that so far has gone according to plan, really. It's been rising pretty well on pop radio, a bullet of 700. It's number 27 there with Recurrence. And obviously it already hit number 1 on alternative radio. And it's selling pretty well too, hanging out in the teens of iTunes lately.
Yeah. I'm 50-50 with this song. I think it of course absolutely could reach top 10, but I don't know, because these alternative songs are just unpredictable at all. But it's rising quite good on all the components right now on sales, streaming and airplay. But my problem with this alternative song is streaming's being so low. I think the streaming for this song I predict around 2 millions of 2 millions of streams. So that's not that impressive. It's really low actually, and it's not even top 50 on Spotify, and it's already high on is already high on sales. So I don't know. I
Well,
would say top 10, but that's it.
I'm gonna say I've been optimistic on the song the whole way. I'm gonna increase the chances of it going top 10 for me to 60%, 60-40. I think that its iTunes performance, even if it might not matter as much as the streaming, is encouraging. Number
Yeah.
12 there. Without exposure. The song really is, I mean, it's just recently started appearing on the callouts, and so far, its callouts are kind of average. It's number 14 out of 31 songs. And let's see, 62.8 of listeners liked the song, and 18.6% said they didn't. So that's around average. I think that it has a chance to scrape the top 10 for a week or two, something like Rather Be, like that kind of chart run. But it'll be different from Rather Be in that Rather Be was airplay driven. This will be a sales driven hit, so it will be really hard to score more than 1 or 2 weeks in the top 10. The streaming is poor. We know that already. Like another alternative crossover hit that we've been talking about lately is Renegades, which has already entered the Spotify top 50 and it's been there for a week or so, but X's and O's has not. So I still think it'll go top 10 for maybe 1 week.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, I think it'll go top 10.
I don't know. It could do the same Centuries. It wasn't that big on streaming, but I think it got 2 weeks in top 10.
That persistent sales and airplay.
Yeah. And Fall Out Boy has had excellent sales and sales longevity, airplay longevity for Uma Thurman as well, which apparently is not dying.
Yeah, he's been there. He's been in the 20s, like
Still,
all this month.
Spent 5 months and 10 days on overall radio, and it's on pop radio, and it's number 10 right now. So just a really slow build. So interesting to see. We already talked about them, but still interesting to check out.
Yeah, the problem with these songs is just the streaming lacking.
Yeah, the streaming for alternative crossovers has never been great. Going all the way back to Pompeii and Best Day of My Life and Pumped Up Kicks, streaming has never been high. No. So we have yet to see the alternative song that can pull massive streaming numbers.
Other than Royals.
Yeah. What about Confident by Demi Lovato? Will that go top 10?
I'm going to say like 100%.
Yeah,
it's
of course.
Not going. It's just, I mean, I don't know. If the video is good and it's controversial and the person just saw the video because the video is controversial and not because the song is bad.
Wrecking Ball?
Yeah, no, but Breaking Ball is an amazing ballad. So respect Miley Cyrus. Oh.
What if it has a naked Demi Lovato?
Yeah, but I don't see her just doing that. But she's been crazy this year, so you'll never know with her. But I think the performance and despite the excuses Lovatics are making already, the iTunes performance has been terrible. I mean, she's out of top 100 already, and streaming is not doing great on Spotify. She's never been big there. And she's been meh on AirPlay, although she's going to add
the ad state next week, but
already,
it should be charting. Yeah, it should be charting already.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be the typical like comparing Selena versus Demi, but
Selena stays winning.
You see, Same Old Love is doing way different. Way. It's been way more successful.
Yeah. I feel like Confident, the struggles that it's going to have on sales are going to really be the make or break thing. Right now, we all know, based on that thread that's popular right now, that it's fallen out of the top 100 on iTunes. But we'll have to wait and see if it can rebound, because early indications are that it's not going to be a very strong seller. I mean, Cool for the Summer wasn't a very strong seller either, so it's not surprising. But if it's going to be basically the same thing as Cool for the Summer, then no, it's not going to go top 10.
I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah.
Someone called me, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I mean, based on Confidence Fall from the top 100 on iTunes, I don't think it's going to be a huge sales hit. And if it's not going to be a huge sales hit, then
It'll be
airplay driven. Yeah.
Airplay driven, but right now even airplay is not promising.
No.
Yeah, it's definitely not going. I don't think even top 10 at this point. It's just a bad choice single.
I mean, I actually haven't even heard it yet, so I can't weigh in on that. But it's looking pretty bleak at the moment.
You're not missing anything, so it's kind of nice, as nice song, but it just feels like dated. I mean, this sound she's been trying this era is the same she's been trying all her career, and she needs to change it because it feels old.
Well, Cool for the Summer is kind of a good song, but
it's the same pop rock
it sounds like Domino.
generic
It sounds exactly
pop
like Domino.
sound that we've been getting all these years on pop radio. So
yeah.
I mean, the chorus melody.
It's a cool song, after all.
The chorus melody is like very similar to Jessie J's Domino.
Yeah.
And which isn't surprising because Max Martin produced it. So I guess I have to say I'm not really keen on Demi's ability to kind of change up her sound based on what I've heard from Cool for the Summer and Last Year Really Don't Care. The same vibe of a kind of a slightly sassy, very accessible pop song, catering to the radio. Obviously, Really Don't Care. Airplay was its strongest component as well.
Yeah.
So the next song that we'll talk about is Hideaway, and there's a space between the hide and the away, by Dea.
I don't know. I feel like it's not. There's no something memorable on this song that you remember after listening to it. It's just a cute pop song for me. So it's doing quite well so far, and it's been getting big nice support for being a debut single. But I would say definitely not going top 10. If anything, then it's going to be successful for a top 4 here, and that's I think that's far from where it's going to peak.
Yeah, I don't think it's going top 10 either.
Yeah, I give it
probably like the 15 to 20, maybe.
I mean, I could see it going.
It's a little bit generous, but yeah, it might.
Yeah. I mean, if I can just let me quickly look up how much streams it's got on Spotify. If my Spotify client would cooperate. I think that its strongest metric is again going to be sales. It has gotten some early airplay on pop radio, where it has a bullet of 173. So it's slowly climbing. It's got 7 million AI there. So we'll have to wait and see if it can do anything meaningful on pop radio. It's received 8.5 million streams on Spotify, which again is not amazing.
Yeah, it's not that good.
Yeah. Unless it's promoted, I can't see it. Top 30, though. That would be good. A breakout for her, considering her age.
Yeah. It's unknown. I mean, I didn't know her. Like, I don't know where the hell she came from.
See, this is the power of streaming that we were talking about earlier. You can have these new artists just blossom and blow up right through the internet. They don't need to be exposed to the public anymore via interviews or performances. They can just blow up organically through the internet.
Friday Teenage is not going to like this of the power of streaming publicity. You'll see.
Well, you're gonna have to deal with it, though.
I mean,
sorry, boo.
He's going to say like, oh, but you don't get fucking money with that. And, all that stuff. Week after week. I actually like Friday Teenage if you're.
He's gonna be happy that we mentioned him.
The longer we talk about this, the more ridiculous it gets. So let's okay, we're gonna move on. Okay, let's move on from that. Okay, Fetty Wap. We already talked about him being a breakout artist this year and having underwhelming sales. But do we think that his album will be able to get 1 week at #1 next week?
I think I don't know because from what I've seen so far for What a Time to Be Alive performance on Spotify, it's not been that impressive as I would expect. Like there's no song from the album in top 10 already. So
Yep.
I was expecting like they were going to lead all the high positions, but that's not what it's looking like. So I don't know. I think maybe because HDD does these really pretty early predictions, they're not that sure on numbers after all. But I think Fetty Wap has a chance. He's not been performing impressive at all, as I would expect from Fetty Wap. I mean, the singles are the only ones doing great on demand streaming right now. But the other tracks are just doing I don't know they're not doing that well. So I think it's going to be a close fight. But I feel Drake and Future are going to get a second week at #1.
I think he'll do better than the HDD estimates. I think he'll do a little more. Might put him above Drake and Future, but it's pretty disappointing. I thought he was definitely gonna make like at least 150K.
I feel like it was one of the most anticipated album of the year, to be honest.
Really, I agree, absolutely. But the length and the turn people off, and the similarity of the songs, I'm sure, turned people off as well. The songs are very similar. I mean, it's a cohesive album, but when you have a cohesive album that's long, it turns people off. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. I feel like Drake and Future are going to do well on Spotify. They've already got a bunch of tracks debuting today, as we mentioned before. So they might actually have the advantage on Spotify, which kind of is Fetty's home metric. So, kind of concerning in that case. And right now I'm leaning towards Drake and Future, but I'm not sure. I'd say 70-30 chance that Drake and Future get a second week. Alright, now on to a more interesting topic that was suggested by you, Mitch, who is not here for this podcast, but he'll be back for episode 7. Katy Perry is rumored to be releasing a Christmas single soon. How will it perform on the Hot 100?
#1. I wouldn't say #1, but it really depends on the material. If it's
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what to predict for Katy. Yeah, it could perform like Ariana's "Santa Tell Me" last year. I mean, Ariana was on the spotlight last year. She was one of the biggest artists last year, and she performed like man. I mean, my problems with artists releasing this type of songs or album is that they just do great during a short time, like almost some intense 3 weeks before, on, and after Christmas week. And then they just die, and it goes back to normally. They just disappear. So the song is going to be produced by Dr. Luke. It seems it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be like a flop, because it's being produced by Dr. Luke, and he's a hit maker machine.
yeah.
But in my opinion, Christmas songs are not #1 material.
Well, I think it could go top 20, if it's promoted right. Like, I know that. Wait, where? Let me hold on. Let me check and see where Santa Tell Me peaked. I can't remember where it peaked.
I think at number 19.
42. Okay.
42. Oh fuck.
Okay, so maybe not top 20. I
I
mean,
was too optimistic.
it has to be promoted. Obviously, I don't think that Christmas singles get much promotion though, so it's going to be hard for her to score top 20. However, I do think it could definitely go top 40. With it being Dr. Luke and with it being Katy Perry.
And with a radio deal.
Oh right, yeah, she's going to get played on all the AC stations, like instead of Michael Bublé, which I hear every single year since that album has been released.
Awesome.
I hear those songs like at Christmas time. Michael Bublé.
King of
Like
Christmas.
a classic, to be honest.
Right. Absolutely King of Christmas. I mean, undisputed, basically. The modern King of Christmas. And I feel like Katy Perry will
Queen of
not-
Christmas.
Well,
No.
I spot no lies there.
who knows? I guess
She
we'll
could
have
be.
to
I
see.
mean,
She's
she
the queen
could.
of everything she does. So whatever.
She could pull off like her own "All I Want for Christmas Is You" if it's the right song. She could have that
she
ring
needs to
out.
get her momentum. She needs to get some momentum back after the era ended unceremoniously with "This Is How We Do." So
Yeah.
she's got to get some momentum back. Whether she can do it just by scoring a top 40 hit with a Christmas song remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Good thing for her, I think, is that if it's going to be a Christmas single, I mean, sales are going to be really important during those weeks. So I think that could help her.
I think it'll
to reach
do.
a peak, or at least a high peak.
Yeah. It'll do really well for a Christmas song.
Yeah.
For a Christmas song. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, top 40 for a Christmas song is impressive considering it's an overall chart and not a regular song that's going to be able to build up all components. So, Anyways, that's that. Next thing we'll talk about is Adele. Really the biggest release to come this year. Coming out in mid-November, rumored to be in the lead single in early November. Adele could absolutely change the way that this year goes.
Oh God, I don't know what to feel anymore. I don't know if I miss her because she's fucking Adele and she's amazing, or I just want the stupid hype die, and I'm tired of waiting so long. I mean, we
waited for so long.
We've been getting rumors since like forever. I mean, we just know from rumors. We don't know from the label or from Adele herself.
Ryan Tedder.
I don't know. I think I'm very conflicted on this because it's possible two scenarios. One, selling decently, or two, selling massive like no other person in this world, and open with 1 million in the US alone.
I mean, I guess I could see her doing 1 million. I really wouldn't be surprised considering how massive 21 was and how big the hype has been. She's already inked a deal with NBC for 4 exclusive appearances on some of their primetime shows, plus SNL, plus potentially a Grammy performance. So with those numbers, she could really and especially releasing around Black Friday is only 1 week or 2 weeks after her album release, she could have some huge numbers. Unfortunately for her, sales don't matter as much as they did in 2011, as we've continued to refer to. And she'll need some big streaming numbers as well.
I'm interested to see how she's going to do on streaming.
Right, because she hasn't had a song she's never had a song out during
this
the streaming age
era. Yeah.
Right. So we have no ground to work with in terms of we have nothing to base our speculation on. This is pure speculation about how well she will do on streaming, but how well will she do on streaming?
I think she'll do really well.
Rolling in the Deep is one of the most watched videos of all time. That's nice.
I think she'll do really well in streaming. Because she's Adele.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's her power alone can be used. As
Just
a
the
reason
name
for-
alone.
Yeah,
Adele.
And if it's a quality song, then definitely.
yeah. I mean, but I personally think that. I mean, she's okay. I don't think she's gonna release an up tempo.
Of course
Put me
not.
down. Put me down for that.
Yeah.
So, I think with a down tempo, it might be a little bit disadvantaged on demand, but perhaps not enough to really matter in terms of the chart position. She could, along with Ariana, definitely debut at number one. The album could definitely become the biggest selling record of the year very quickly.
Yeah. I have no doubts about it.
It's just such a huge event, and now that it's, now that we're coming up on it, it almost feels surreal that we're actually having an Adele album release in a month.
It's an event.
I know.
Yeah, I mean everyone is scared. I mean they're all of them. They're born. They're like they've been like waiting from Adele releasing because
Yeah,
she's a
other
monster.
artists are looking forward to it too, so that will help. Like the hype, add to the hype.
I will see.
It'll be so exciting to see, though, because we've got a packed fourth quarter. We've got Adele, Justin Bieber, One Direction, 5 Seconds of Summer, Ellie Goulding, Ariana Grande. It's just
Katy
a ton.
Perry.
Yes, Katy. Swift. But a lot of really big artists that are releasing. And
Finally,
Rihanna.
something exciting this year.
oh no, you say
Alright.
Rihanna?
No. Yeah, I said Rihanna. Just
You
kidding.
never know with that bitch.
Hashtag pray for all.
It's so hard to be a Navy member right now.
Bitch better give my album right now this year.
Yeah, I doubt it though. She's not releasing until next year. You put me down for that. Okay. So, I guess anything else that we're gonna talk about, or
I think that's it, to be honest.
yeah. Well, all right then. I guess that wraps it up for this episode. We've gone an hour and 12, so that's definitely long enough. We do have some segments in mind for episode 7, but obviously we always appreciate new segment ideas. So you can tweet those to @ChartsPodcast. I run the account, or you can post them in the thread, which could always use some activity, even if the recent promo has made us less desperate about that.
Yes.
Good
Of
work,
course.
Hair. That was mostly Hair. That was not.
That was not alone, to be honest.
But I'm going to give you credit for that, because that was some really good promotion. I wasn't expecting it. So, yes, post those ideas in the thread. Songs that you want us to cover in Wilco Top 10, post them in the thread. Any other random comments, feedback, ideas, just post them in the thread. Episode 7, we might have another new panelist. We'll have you, Mitch, back. So make sure to tune in for that in a week's time or so. And
We'll be
take
talking about Janet Jackson's album.
care. Oh, yeah, that too. That'll be exciting.
And please, don't let this project die.
It won't. This is going to
It
go on for a long.
won't.
I always say that. Sorry.
This-
I got to
this-
say it.
This is going to go for a long time, and we're going to have a lot of successful episodes, and it's going to be really fun. Yeah?
Yep.
Alright, guys, take care, and we'll see you for episode 7.
See ya.
Bye.
Alright, you guys can stop recording.